Today, out of nowhere, we just got another trailer for Reanimal. This one revealing the game's release date, as well as showing us some new footage from various sections of the game. So without any other boring, repetitive preamble, let's just jump right in and look at the most interesting parts of this trailer. The first shot of interest shows the two siblings in their boat in front of some sort of large factory-like structure in the middle of a forest. And this place could actually be the mine-like area shown in the very first demo from Reanimal all the way back in 2024. As we can see in shots from that demo, similar-looking windows and shingles on the roof of this location. This place is also where the mole creature resides, whose name has been confirmed as the Mother, which makes sense given that we see her birthing these strange, faceless stone children from the cavity where her face should be, also in that first demo clip from 2024. This area could also be this island shown on the map from the special edition of the game, as the structure shown here does have a relatively similar shape to the factory from this shot of the trailer, as well as both these locations seeming to be on forested islands. Next, there's a shot of the two walking up to a car, which appears to be the same car from one of the very first teasers for Reanimal all the way back in 2022, as well as the car that can be seen in the official poster art for Reanimal with one of the children crouching on top of it. What exactly the involvement of this car in the game is of course unknown, but considering the amount of emphasis put on it in these trailers and teasers, it may very well be important, and possibly a usable game mechanic, allowing the player to drive around certain sections of the game, acting as a similar transportation device to the boat, but for some of the sections on land. The next couple shots give us more insight into the level of devastation that the world of Reanimal has seen, with corpses being littered throughout the city area the siblings explore. Like here, where a man in a hat can be found collapsed across from the siblings using a bolt cutter to get into a chain link fence, or a few shots later where we can see the siblings hiding from the Sniffer, whose name was previously incorrectly believed to be the tailor, behind another fence, where two corpses can be seen with a bloated and grayish appearance, one behind the fence, and another near the siblings with a crowbar lodged in his stomach, likely an item the two will need to escape or fight back against the Sniffer. We can also see a little square opening surrounded by a wooden frame, which was probably the entrance the siblings used to get into this little fenced-off crawl space area to avoid the Sniffer in the first place. Bloating and discoloration of these corpses also looks as if their decay has been caused by water, likely victims of the flood which has been hinted at throughout the lead-up to the release of this game. And in a few other shots, we can see more areas that show the extent to which the flood has permeated every area of this civilization, with the siblings taking their boat through a flooded neighborhood that has water reaching all the way up to the roofs of the houses, or this other shot where the siblings are traversing a flooded building in a larger boat, with the company of the other child with the sack over his head, who was very prominent in the last demo for the game. This shot also being interesting as we can see what appears to be a reanimated corpse moving in the water, likely preparing to attack the boat, being something the players will have to maneuver around as a gameplay mechanic. And speaking of gameplay, there also seems to be a lot of sections of this game featuring collaborative puzzles and interactivity that requires both players. As well as the scene of the siblings operating a hand car, which was already present in the last demo, we can also see the two using a saw to cut down a tree to bridge a gap over a ravine. It should also be noted that the third child is present in this shot, and considering that we are seeing a forest here, which was the area that the three children were chased into by the Sniffer at the end of the demo, I'd guess that this scene takes place not long after those events. There's also this other shot of those same three children opening a door together, which, judging by the cage-like structures of wood and chicken wire, appears to be the same area that the two encountered the Sniffer and bloated corpses, which may imply that somewhere between that shot and this one, something awful happens to the third child, possibly the Sniffer catching up with them and killing him. The two siblings also employ a version of the same boost mechanic present in both Little Nightmares 2 and 3 to help each other get over a ledge. Now, the last few shots of the trailer are probably the most interesting, with the siblings hiding behind crates and rubble from a man who appears to be operating a Gatling gun, as partially destroyed buildings behind them are lit up in orange. Now, this scene actually brings up an interesting idea that has been speculated about for a while. The man using the gun appears to be wearing a British World War I era Brodie helmet, and these helmets can actually be seen on the corpses around the lamb in the last trailer, as well as on the dying men during what appears to be the lamb's escape. So between the gun and the helmets, it would certainly be safe to conclude that the military was involved in trying to contain, kill, or possibly creating these creatures in the first place, with them getting loose and breaking containment in the chaos caused by the flood, with the orange flashes in the background of the shot likely being bombs dropped by the military to try and stop the mutant animals, the same thing that caused the destruction to the surrounding buildings. The flashes seen over the cliffs in the game's title screen are also likely this bombing taking place. The final shot of the trailer also reinforces this, being the same one of the lamb clutching the houses likely after breaching containment, but with much darker lighting and a different angle showing us piles of corpses in those same army helmets. The prevalence of sea mines is also something we're shown more of in this trailer, in a red tinted version of a shot that was previously in the first trailer of the kids coming up to a large ominous building in their boat, but this time with mines dotted throughout the water. Another obvious military item, probably used to try and stop this aquatic animal creature shown in the first trailer and again on the map. Another interesting detail is the prevalence of a female British sounding voice all throughout this trailer. Whoever this is speaking says, "We know from experience what it means to be away from those we love most of all. To all of you living in new surroundings, we send a message of true sympathy, and to think all of the new sights you must be seeing and the adventures you must be having. So it is not difficult for us to picture the sort of life you are leading. I know you won't forget us. Good night and good luck to you all." This voice is muffled and sounds like it's coming through a loudspeaker or some sort of communication device like a telephone. The first line could possibly be in reference to the children all being separated apart from the siblings, with of course the point of the game being for the children to reunite. The line after would indicate though that the speaker is speaking to everyone affected by the flood very generally, with the rest of the dialogue seeming to try and make light of and give courage to people about what has happened, putting a positive spin on likely the flood. This audio possibly comes from some sort of PSA by the government or a line from some sort of TV show or radio show to give condolences and reassure people in the wake of the flood and other horrific events caused by the mutant animals. Now, finally, we get a release date of February 13th, 2026, which is actually around the same time of year that Little Nightmares 2 came out, being released on the 11th of February, only 5 years earlier in 2021. So we are about 3 months away from the release of this game, and I have no idea how it's already almost the end of November. Like, where did this year go? Anyway, Reanimal looks like a very cool game, and is definitely similar to Little Nightmares 1 and 2 in its aesthetics, building on Tarsiers' previous work in an interesting and more mature-looking direction. I certainly cannot wait to play this game when it finally does come out. I was honestly not expecting to make another Reanimal video for quite a while, but this news just totally blindsided us. So here's another one. I just kind of hastily threw it together in a day, but I think it's all right. Big thing though, the really long Little Nightmares theory that I'm working on. I hope to have it up by this Sunday, maybe. It has taken so long to make. I thought I'd have it up within around the time Little Nightmares 3 actually came out. Boy, was I naive. So please stay tuned for that, and please give that a watch because I think it's really good. But yeah, apart from that, why don't you subscribe or whatever? I don't care anymore.